last week. It's okay to say that. But joining us right now is a guy that knows far more about the position than we'll ever know or forget. He was a star at UC Davis. You heard him many times throwing those passes right here on Sports 1140 KHTK, now Sactown Sports. And I saw him online and didn't even realize it was him. I want to plug his Twitter account at the QB, as in quarterback school. And I know he's got several platforms for this, including YouTube. And I just remember hearing this guy breaking down Jimmy Garoppolo film. And I am a sucker for this stuff, especially when I don't understand half of it. And then I did some diving, and hey, it's JT O'Sullivan. That JT O'Sullivan who joins us right now to talk a little bit about Jimmy Garoppolo and friends. JT, it's Dave. It's Jason Ross. Good morning. How are you?
What's up, fellas? I'm excited to be on. This is one of my favorite channels.
Nice. You had a lot of fun on this channel, and I will never forget the JT O'Sullivan Anime Ojo connection. I reference it more often than one would think. And here you are back. You've had quite the career, quite the life, and I love what you're doing on the QB school stuff, JT.
Oh, well, I appreciate the kind words. I'm certainly having fun with it. It's my own little niche that I really enjoy, but it's fun to kind of give back and share about a game that gave me so much.
So when you're breaking down these QBs, let's start with the one we spent a lot of time talking about, Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you see? What do you see with Jimmy's film? What are you looking for? Kind of give us some intel there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a tough situation this week, but I think everybody, as much as we like to overreact to one game or one bad performance, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo has proven that he can win and win consistently in the league. And so I would imagine him to be able to bounce back and be a hell of a lot more consistent really quickly. But, man, that film from that last game was tough to watch on a number of different levels. But I don't think it was just Jimmy. I think it's easy to kind of say, hey, the quarterback didn't play well, so we didn't play well. But I think collectively they didn't play that well and would look for them to bounce back in a strong way.
JT, we look at Denver's 3 games, and they've allowed very few points, which would point to that defense being pretty darn decent. Also, Garoppolo had gotten thrown in the first quarter after the Lance injury, as you know. So I'll ask you, how much of this do you put on Jimmy himself, and how much of it do you think is also extenuating circumstances and what put him under center?
Well, I mean, I think it can be both, and it can be a pretty even split. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's not an easy narrative, and it makes you dive a little bit deeper. But I think that Jimmy, the way that Jimmy plays the position and has played it over the course of his career, can allow you to win football games consistently at a high level in the regular season. Now, the reason that they went out to get Trey Lance were probably numerous, but the ones that I think of are Trey Lance's potential to create explosive plays and stretch the field vertically with his arm, bigger arm. And so you're not going to be able to do that with Garoppolo. But what you can do is you can protect, you can throw over the middle on time, you can distribute the ball the way that they have the last few years. And I would imagine them to fall back into that pace moving forward. But I don't think it was, my thing about it was they didn't do a whole lot to help Garoppolo, whether that was issues up front, whether that was Kittle maybe not being 100% able to stretch the field over the middle where he likes to go with the ball. Those types of things that constricted the game plan even more so than maybe Jimmy not getting a training camp or Jimmy, who knows, not being potentially 100% healthy. All those types of things compound to make it even uglier of a performance.
JT, I'm curious, we brought up Trey Lance and the things you brought up of what they see potentially in him. When you've seen him, I know it's a small sample size, do you see what the Niners see? Do you think Trey Lance has that potential to do all those things that they potentially believe he can do?
Yeah, I certainly do think that. I don't think there's anything on film that makes you feel like he can't do that. We've seen the explosiveness. We've seen the athletic ability. We've seen the arm strength. We've seen the capacity to stretch the ball down the field. And I would imagine, as hard as this is for NFL fans and people that love ball to get, is that quarterbacks develop at different paces. And I think he needs to play. Unfortunately, didn't play last year, injuries now. But when we see him play, I would imagine that his trajectory of improvement will look a lot like what these other guys that have been picked in the first round have looked like as far as getting better quickly while also being explosive in the process.
JT O'Sullivan, that's right. UC Davis is JT O'Sullivan. San Francisco 49ers, JT O'Sullivan, now with the QB school, and we will make sure to plug that before we finish up with JT. One thing specifically, and again, I invite you guys to go watch JT's videos. They're absolutely amazing. And you talked about what you call, quote, the lucky safety. And I'll read what you tweeted here. You said, I have a lot of questions and concerns here. In short, it's on Jimmy, but the play call is rough here, and the pass protection is not good enough. It can be all of those things. Roll through that play real quick and the major issues you had with that outside of Jimmy.
Well, a few things. The first thing, play call wise, that play was a shot play down the field. They're trying to, what a lot of people will call a leak play, where they try to sneak the tight end across on a shallow and then up the sidelines like on a wheel to the opposite side. And so it takes time to develop. Now, the 49ers have had a lot of success with that play. A lot of teams have had a lot of success with that play. But it takes time, and it takes a deep drop. And when you're on the 2-yard line or whatever they were on, you're looking at a 10-yard drop. You're pushing the back line of an end line. And so for that call there, I think it's at least reasonable to question, hey, is this really the best call for us right here in this spot? And then you couple that with the fact that the nose tackle beats the right guard and right tackle. You couple that with Juszczyk on the edge playing a wing, gets beat and thrown to the ground. And now we've got issues in our front, on our front set face, which makes us back up. And I get it. We can't back up. We need to know where we are. But, that's a decent example of a really bad play where they actually got lucky. But was it just Jimmy? It was certainly Jimmy with an element of it, and then coupling it with a, almost disaster pick six. But I feel like the structure and scaffolding around him on that play didn't put him in a good situation to be successful.
JT, the nature of talk radio, we get a lot of people that call in or text and just say, they question the play calling sometimes of a Kyle Shanahan. By and large, much like a player, they're going to make mistakes. Do you think Kyle calls a good game?
I think he's got the reputation well-deserved as being a great play caller in the league. The things that I think he does really well are layer game plans and make things look similar. So the run game and the play action game is perfectly mirrored. I think that the potential gaps for what I would say where you could look for more improvement is sometimes, as cool as it is to see Deebo Samuel in the backfield and the wide back stuff and the screens, sometimes it's also cool to just throw it down the field and take a shot and get guys off of us and maybe do a double move on the perimeter. And so there are different ways to maybe allow Garoppolo to, maybe he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but stretch us vertically to feel like we can get the defense off us so that they're not sitting on all those in-breaking routes, making everything so difficult to throw. But yeah, overall, I think he's proven that he's one of the best in-game play callers. Now, do the plans look similar because we have had so much internal staff turnover? Do they have the amount of comprehensive volume of offense that maybe they've had in the past because of the staff turnover? I think time will tell. But as far as a play caller, he's got to be up there in the league.
JT, I want people to see the work you're putting in on social media, on your website. I can tell you, at the QB is in quarterback school on Twitter. Where would you direct everybody to see your stuff?
YouTube is kind of the central home for the majority of the stuff. And then I honestly have fallen into this and really, really enjoy it way more than I thought I would have. So that kind of then branches out into a bunch of different elements, whether it's courses, whether it's a Patreon community, whether it's the social media. And I just try to have as much fun as I can and, not walk into any hornet's nests of any fans that are really pissed and think their quarterback is better than the film.
Yeah. Also screw the Hornets, right? I mean, come on, JT, right? Aggie.
I never miss a jab there, but they're looking great. They found their secret sauce and some. So it's that level of football, good football kind of raises the tide for everyone. So I'm always pulling for the Big Sky FCS.
Amen. At the QB school, that's got the YouTube, that's got the quick game passing course links on there as well. And I really, really invite y'all to take a look. JT, pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. And we look forward to having you on again in the future.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Go Ags.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you.